Turn off the lights in your room. Now imagine they will never turn on again. No lamps, no screens, no quiet hum of electricity hiding in the walls. When the sun sets, darkness arrives, and it stays, not as a background, but as a presence. In the Middle Ages, night was not a break from life. It was a test of survival. Every meal, every hour of sleep, every moment of safety depended on daylight, fire, and human effort. This is not the romantic medieval world of movies. This is the real one. Slow, dangerous, intimate, and astonishing. Tonight, we return to that dark world. In the Middle Ages, electricity did not simply fail to exist. It was beyond imagination. There was no concept of instant power, no idea that light could appear at will. Human life moved at the pace of nature, shaped entirely by the sun's rise and fall. Morning began before sunrise. People woke not because they wanted to, but because daylight was too valuable to waste. A farmer who lost an hour of morning light lost productivity, food, and sometimes survival itself. The body became the clock. Hunger, fatigue, and light dictated action. There were no seconds or minutes in the modern sense. Time was divided into broad, living segments: dawn, morning, midday, evening, night. Church bells announced these transitions. Bells told people when to pray, when to work, when to rest. In many villages, bells were the only force that synchronized human life. Inside medieval homes, darkness dominated even during the day. Windows were small, often covered with oiled cloth or animal skin. Glass was rare and expensive. Sunlight entered homes as narrow beams, illuminating dust in the air but leaving corners untouched. At night, light came from fire. Candles were precious and rationed. Most families could not afford beeswax candles and instead used tallow candles made from animal fat. These produced weak light and heavy smoke. Many homes relied solely on the hearth. Fire was both a gift and a threat. It cooked food, warmed bodies, and kept wild animals away. But it also destroyed entire towns. One unattended spark could erase generations overnight. There were no fire brigades. When fire spread, people ran. Winter intensified everything. Cold penetrated stone walls and wooden floors. Families slept together near the hearth. Privacy was sacrificed for warmth. Breath was visible indoors. Clothing was worn day and night. Without electricity, food could not be stored safely. Meat spoiled quickly unless salted or smoked. Vegetables were dried or pickled. Bread hardened within days. Hunger was not rare, it was expected. People learned to live with emptiness. Sleep followed darkness. Most medieval people practiced what historians called segmented sleep. They slept shortly after sunset, woke around midnight for prayer, reflection, or quiet conversation, then returned to sleep until dawn. This pattern aligned with natural human biology, untouched by artificial light. Darkness shaped belief. Light represented God, safety, and order. Darkness represented danger, chaos, and evil. Candles became symbols of hope. Fire became sacred. Life without electricity was not convenient, but it was deeply connected to time, nature, and the human body. Medieval cities did not glow. They disappeared after sunset. As the sun fell, city gates closed, travel stopped, streets emptied. Without streetlights, darkness transformed familiar paths into threats. Criminals moved easily at night, protected by shadow and anonymity. Most people avoided night travel entirely. If movement was necessary, lanterns were used sparingly. Oil was expensive. Light attracted attention. Darkness was safer. Streets were narrow and unpaved. Waste was thrown into open drains or directly into the road. Without electric sanitation, disease spread rapidly. Plagues thrived in darkness, filth, and overcrowding. Markets operated entirely during daylight. There were no illuminated signs. Merchants relied on shouting, reputation, and routine. Customers knew where to go because they always went there. Water was carried by hand. Wells were shared. Clean water was never guaranteed. Illness was common. Life expectancy was low. Yet cities functioned. Blacksmiths worked near open fires. Bakers rose before dawn to prepare bread using residuing heat. Artisans relied on sunlight filtering through workshop windows. Productivity ended when light ended. Night sounds defined cities. Footsteps echoed. Dogs barked. Bells warned of fire or attack. Silence was never empty. It was alert. Community replaced technology. People depended on neighbors for protection, labor, and survival. Isolation was dangerous.
Without electricity, the human body powered civilization. Every task required muscle. Farming meant endless physical labor. Fields were plowed with wooden tools. Harvests depended entirely on weather. One storm could destroy everything. Men, women, and children worked. Childhood as a protected stage of life barely existed. Survival required contribution. Women labored constantly, cooking, spinning wool, preserving food, caring for animals. Men worked fields, construction, and crafts. Injuries were common. Medical care was limited. Artificial light did not extend workdays. Darkness enforced rest. Fatigue was respected because exhaustion meant death. Entertainment required presence. Stories were told aloud. Music was played live. Memory replaced storage. People remembered long poems, family histories, and oral traditions. Life was slower, but attention was deeper. Religion filled the space electricity would one day occupy. Churches dominated towns. Candlelight created awe. Shadows moved across stone walls, shaping emotion and belief. Without scientific explanations, the world felt alive with meaning. Storms were messages. Disease was judgment or trial. Darkness strengthened faith. Fear was real, but so was comfort. Religion explained suffering. It offered structure. Festivals followed seasons. Firelight turned night into celebration. Community replaced isolation. Death was familiar. Life was fragile. Meaning mattered. Electricity did more than brighten rooms. It rewired humanity. It defeated darkness, extended time, separated humans from nature's rhythm. Medieval life was harder, but slower. People slept when tired, rested when night arrived, lived inside time, not against it. Perhaps something was lost. Tonight, as you drift towards sleep under electric light, remember the centuries lived in shadow, slow, quiet, human, and let the darkness rest with you.